All right, let's dive right in to Tanla Platforms.
Okay.
We've got company filings, shareholder letters, investor updates, even some suggested questions to help us out today.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a close look at their Q3 FY25 financial results.
Sounds good.
And you know, it's really interesting.
Mm.
Tanla just hit this massive milestone, sending out 1 billion messages
1 billion.
in a single month using RCS technology.
Wow.
1 billion. That's crazy.
You know what's really interesting about that? It positions Tanla as a potential leader in this new emerging technology.
Yeah, and they're already a major player in the whole CPaaS space.
Exactly. Communications platform as a service.
And especially in India.
Yeah. They work with some big names, you know.
Yeah, Google and Meta.
Things like that. And they're involved in a wide range of communication channels. Really interesting.
So for, those of us who aren't as tech savvy, CPaaS basically helps businesses streamline their communications, right?
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And Tanla seems to be tackling this on a couple different fronts.
Yeah, they've got their digital platforms division,
Okay.
which is focused on innovation and security.
Uh,
You can almost think of it as their tech incubator.
Okay, cool.
They're developing solutions like their Treblock platform, which is designed to combat spam
Nice.
and make messaging safer.
So they're helping keep our inboxes clean.
In a way, yeah, absolutely.
But they're not just about security, are they?
Not at all. Their enterprise communications side is all about giving businesses a wide range of communication tools.
Okay.
They cover everything from traditional SMS and voice to more modern channels like WhatsApp,
Mm-hmm.
and of course this exciting new RCS technology.
So like they're covering all the bases.
Yeah, not putting all their eggs in one basket,
Makes sense.
which makes sense in such a rapidly evolving market.
Okay, so let's look at their Q3 FY25 financials.
All right.
Revenue came in at $10,004 million.
Okay.
It's a tiny little dip of 0.2% year over year, but overall it seems pretty stable.
Right. Even with that slight dip, their gross profit is still pretty respectable at $2,607 million.
Yeah.
You know, we have to keep in mind
Uh.
that they've been making significant investments in growth initiatives.
Right.
And there was a one-time Forex loss this quarter,
Okay.
which impacted their profit after tax.
So that explains the 15% drop in PATI.
Right.
But earnings per share, EPS, still sitting at a solid euro 8.82.
Right.
And another positive sign, cash and cash equivalents have actually grown quite a bit.
Yeah, they've got a healthy cash position right now at $9,208 million. So
Wow.
that really highlights their financial strength.
Yeah.
Plus, they've announced an interim dividend of €6 per share.
Oh, wow.
Which is good news for investors.
That's definitely encouraging, but I'm guessing there's more to the story than just those numbers.
Absolutely.
Right.
The shareholder letter and the investor updates provide a lot of valuable context.
Okay.
Take that impressive 1 billion RCS messages that they sent in a month. That's not just a random number. It suggests that they're establishing themselves as a leader in this really kind of burgeoning technology.
It seems like these OTT channels, like WhatsApp and RCS, are becoming increasingly important for Tanla.
Yeah.
Because they now account for 23% of their revenue,
Yeah.
up from 15% last year.
It definitely points to a shift in the market.
Yeah.
And Tanla's investment in these channels seems to be paying off.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just keeping up with the trend, they're helping drive it.
It's great that they're not just focused on short-term profits.
Right.
They're putting resources into attracting new talent and developing new initiatives.
Yeah.
Even if it means a temporary impact on their bottom line.
That long-term vision is crucial in a fast-paced industry like this.
Yeah.
And it's not just about financial growth. Their commitment to ESG principles is also notable.
No.
Their S&P Global score has risen to 74, putting them among the top performers in their industry.
Wow. Okay, let's break down some of the specifics of their performance this quarter,
Right.
starting with the revenue breakdown.
Okay.
Looks like their digital platforms are holding strong,
Yeah.
but their enterprise communications segment has experienced a bit of a slowdown.
Yes. There's been some softness in the international long distance, or ILD, business.
Okay.
And this seems to be due in part to increased competition from platforms like WhatsApp, which offer free or low-cost international calling.
Right.
It's a prime example of how technology is constantly disrupting the communication landscape.
And another thing that I noticed, their gross margin has been trending downwards.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but something worth noting.
There are a few potential factors at play here. One is the pricing pressure in certain segments.
Right.
The move towards OTT channels, which may have lower margins, could also be contributing. And of
Mhm.
course, those investments in growth initiatives are also a factor.
Right, so it's a balancing act between maximizing current profits and investing in future growth.
Exactly.
Speaking of investments, they've had a significant increase in indirect costs this quarter.
The main drivers behind that increase are their investments in talent acquisition and marketing.
Okay.
The fluctuations in foreign exchange rates have also played a role.
Right.
Again, it ties back to their strategic focus on growth and innovation.
It seems like they're not afraid to spend money where they see opportunity.
Right.
But let's not forget the bright spot, their free cash flow.
Yeah.
They generated $2,165 million, which is the highest it's been in the past 6 quarters.
That's a strong indicator of their financial health.
Yeah.
It means they're effectively generating cash from their operations,
Okay.
giving them the flexibility to invest in new opportunities and navigate any potential challenges that come their way.
So even though there are some headwinds, Tanla seems to be in a pretty solid position overall.
I would agree.
But they don't provide formal guidance.
Right.
So what can we glean from the shareholder letter and investor updates about their future prospects?
Well, it's clear that they're heavily focused on innovation, particularly in the RCS space. They're also actively expanding their presence in the OTT market, which is showing impressive growth.
Right.
And of course, their strong financial foundation, with a healthy cash reserve and no debt,
Right.
gives them a lot of room to maneuver.
That all sounds very positive, but are there any potential challenges or risks on the horizon that we should be aware of?
Well, the CPA market is becoming increasingly competitive, and there's always the risk of pricing pressure, especially in certain segments.
Okay.
Tanla will need to manage their growth investments carefully to ensure they translate into sustainable profitability. And as with any technology company, their long-term success will depend on their ability to stay ahead of the innovation curve.
It's a dynamic and exciting industry, and Tanla seems to be right in the thick of it. But as always, it's important to do your own research
Absolutely.
and weigh the risks and rewards before making any investment decisions.
That's why deep dives like this are so valuable.
Right.
They provide the context and insights you need to make informed decisions.
Now, before we let you go, I have a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Tanla has clearly demonstrated its ability to scale RCS in India.
Yeah.
But what about the global landscape?
Hmm.
Could RCS become the dominant messaging platform worldwide?
It's a fascinating question.
And if so, what role could Tanla play in shaping that future?
Something to think about.
Something to think about.
If they can replicate their success in other markets, RCS could very well become the global standard for business messaging.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Tanla could be a major player in that transformation.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
Okay, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Tanla Platforms.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to explore the world of business and technology.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
It's fascinating to see a company like Tanla, based in India, making waves on the global communication stage.
It really speaks to the power of technology to
Yeah.
transcend borders, connect people in new ways.
And the pace of innovation is incredible.
Oh, for sure.
This whole RCS thing.
Right.
It feels like we're just on the cusp of something big.
Absolutely. A major shift in how we communicate.
Yeah, how we communicate, how businesses communicate.
It's an exciting time to be following this industry.
It really is.
And Tanla seems to be approaching this new frontier with a really good mix of boldness, but also a careful strategy.
Right, they're not just dipping their toes in.
No,
They're going for it, but they're doing their homework too.
that's a good way to put it. Their success with RCS in India gives them a strong foundation to build on,
Right.
but they're not resting on their laurels.
It seems like they're constantly pushing the envelope.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's their whole approach, their focus on ESG, their investment in talent, their shareholder-friendly policies.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working for them.
Now, I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, okay, this Tanla Platforms company sounds interesting, but what does it all mean for me?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah,
How do we connect these developments to the bigger picture?
exactly. And as always, we encourage our listeners to do their own research
Always a good idea.
and make your own informed decisions.
Absolutely. That's crucial. But I think what we're seeing with Tanla is a case study in how innovation combined with a solid business strategy and a commitment to responsible practices can create real value.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the world of business and technology is full of possibilities.
Oh, for sure.
And companies like Tanla are leading the way.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and zoom in on a specific example
Okay.
that illustrates Tanla's approach. Remember that case study mentioned in the shareholder letter about a major energy company in India?
Yes, the one where they used WhatsApp to revamp their loyalty program?
That's the one.
That sounds like a really smart move.
It was. The energy company was facing a challenge. After a major acquisition and rebranding, they needed to re-engage their customers and breathe new life into their loyalty program.
So Tanla came up with a solution that leveraged the power of WhatsApp.
Exactly. They created a seamless chatbot experience
Oh, cool.
that allowed customers to easily upload fuel receipts, earn loyalty points, and redeem rewards.
Okay.
It was a brilliant way to leverage an existing platform and create a win-win situation.
So the energy company got increased engagement and valuable data,
Exactly.
and the customers got a really user-friendly and rewarding experience.
It's a great example of how Tanla is applying its technology to solve real-world business problems.
And it seems like this approach is resonating with Tanla's customer base.
For sure.
They mentioned adding over 100 new logos this quarter.
Yeah, with 50% of them onboarded for OTT channels.
That's significant.
It suggests that businesses are recognizing the value of these channels, and Tanla is well positioned to capitalize on this trend.
They're not just talking the talk.
No, they're walking the walk.
And their commitment to innovation extends beyond technology.
Yeah.
It's also reflected in their approach to corporate governance and sustainability.
Right. Their S&P Global ESG score of 74 is a testament to their efforts in these areas.
It shows that they're not just focused on the bottom line.
Yeah.
They're taking a more holistic approach to business, which is becoming increasingly important.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here,
Right.
but before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to the listener.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are some key takeaways they should be thinking about?
Well, I think the first takeaway is that Tanla is a company that's not afraid to embrace change and push boundaries.
Yeah.
They're leading the charge in new technologies like RCS
Yeah.
and are capitalizing on the growth of OTT channels.
They're innovating, they're growing,
Exactly.
and they're rewarding investors.
And they're financially sound, strong balance sheet, commitment to returning value to shareholders.
What's not to like?
Of course, no investment is without risk.
Right.
It's important to be aware of the potential challenges.
Yeah.
Competition in the CPA market is fierce.
Wow.
Pricing pressure is a constant concern.
Sure.
Tanla also needs to carefully manage their growth investments to make sure that they translate into sustainable profitability.
Right. It's a balancing act.
Exactly.
But it seems like they're navigating it well so far.
They seem to be doing a good job.
And as with any tech company, their success really hinges on their ability to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
The landscape is constantly evolving. They need to be adaptable and responsive.
100% agree.
It's a dynamic and exciting space,
It is.
and Tanla's right in the thick of it.
But as always, it's crucial to do your own due diligence.
Absolutely.
Weigh the risks and rewards before making any investment decisions.
That's why deep dives like this are so valuable.
Absolutely.
They give you the context and insights you need to make those informed choices.
Exactly. It's about empowering listeners with knowledge so they can navigate this complex world of business and technology with confidence.
Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
Tanla has proven they can scale RCS in India, but can they replicate that success on a global scale? And if so, what are the implications for the future of communication?
Those are excellent questions. The answers will unfold in the years to come.
Yeah.
But it's clear that Tanla is a company to watch. They're at the forefront of a technological revolution
Absolutely.
that has the potential to reshape how we connect and communicate with each other.
It's an exciting time to be following this story, and we'll be keeping a close eye on Tanla's journey. It's pretty remarkable to think that a company like Tanla, with roots in India, could be playing such a key role in shaping the future of global communication.
It really is. It's the beauty of technology,
Yeah.
It has the power to connect people and ideas across borders and cultures.
Yeah, and it's constantly evolving, creating new opportunities and challenges.
Absolutely.
This whole RCS development is a prime example.
Right.
It has the potential to revolutionize the way businesses interact with their customers.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's still early days. There's a lot of uncertainty about how it will all play out.
That's what makes it so intriguing.
Yeah.
We're witnessing a technological evolution in real time.
It really is.
And Tanla is right at the forefront, pushing the boundaries, experimenting with new possibilities.
They're not just following the trends, they're actively shaping them.
Yeah, they're not just along for the ride.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's their whole approach to business,
Mm-hmm.
their commitment to ethical practices, their focus on nurturing talent, their shareholder-friendly policies.
It all adds up.
All of these factors contribute to their appeal.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach that resonates with investors and customers.
Now, I know our listeners are probably absorbing all this information and wondering how it applies to their own lives.
That's a natural question. How do we connect these macro trends and company-specific developments to our own decisions and perspectives?
Exactly. And as always, we encourage our listeners to do their own research
Yeah, always a good idea.
and draw their own conclusions.
Absolutely.
But I think the key takeaway from our deep dive into Tanla is that innovation is a powerful force.
No doubt about it.
And when it's combined with a sound business strategy and a commitment to responsible practices,
Right.
it can create a ripple effect that extends far beyond the company itself.
It really can. It's amazing.
It's a reminder that we're living in a world of interconnectedness and constant change.
Absolutely.
And companies like Tanla are leading the way.
Showing us what's possible.
Yeah, showing us what's possible when you embrace new ideas and challenge the status quo.
It's inspiring. It really is.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Tanla's success with RCS in India is impressive,
Very impressive.
but the real test will be whether they can replicate that success on a global scale.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. If they can crack the code and make RCS the global standard for business messaging, the implications are enormous.
Oh, yeah. It would be huge.
It would transform the way brands communicate with their customers.
Absolutely.
It'd create new opportunities for innovation and growth.
For sure.
And it would cement Tanla's position as a leader in the global communication landscape.
No doubt about it.
It's a fascinating prospect, and we'll be watching closely to see how it all unfolds.
I'm sure there will be plenty of twists and turns along the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that's what makes this journey so exciting.
That's a great point. Well said. On that note, we'll bring this deep dive to a close.
All right.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
It's been a pleasure exploring the world of Tanla Platforms with you.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring, continue learning, and continue asking those tough questions.
Yeah, keep digging.
Because that's how we make sense of this complex and ever-changing world.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one leading the charge, shaping the future of communication in ways we can't even imagine yet.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.
It was great to be here. See you next time.
Take care.